Hello everybody, it's time for another Little Miss story. We've done, I can't remember who it was now, we've done one Little Miss, haven't we? We've done Mr Grumpy and Mr Worry. Little Miss Bossy, wasn't it, we've already done. So we're now going to do today Little Miss Neat. So you may not know what colour she is, but I'm sure you know that she is very neat and tidy, which is why she's Little Miss Neat. So anybody know what colour she is? She's very smart. She's got glasses. She's quite round. She is green. Yep, those that got it, well done. She's got a little nose. What colour nose do you think she would have? I think probably if green, it would be a red nose, wouldn't it? Which it is. She wears a very smart little hat. What colour that is it's a blue hat with a white hat band, and she also has orange shoes. So that is Little Miss Neat, and very tidy she looks too. Okay. Little Miss Neat was a very tidy person, possibly the tidiest person in the room, or in the world even. I was thinking maybe your room was really, really, really tidy, but whether it's as tidy as Little Miss Neat's room, I don't know. She lived in Two Pin Cottage. It was called Two Pin Cottage because she kept it as neat as two pins. So as a phrase, we don't use that phrase very often anymore, but when you say something's really neat, really tidy, you say sometimes it's as neat as two pins. And she just couldn't stand a mess. Every day she spent all day polishing and dusting and cleaning and making sure that things were in their proper places. Mrs Barton keeps telling me I should be cleaning the house. I should bring the hoover around and so on, but I'm a bit naughty about that. One morning, Little Miss Neat woke in her bedroom at Two Pin Cottage. She looked out of her bedroom window. It had been raining during the night, and there was a puddle in the middle of her garden path. And there is her very nice cottage. It looks like it's a thatched cottage, doesn't it? And you can see in the middle of the path is what looks like it's a puddle. And I suppose that wasn't very neat, is it? So she's going to get rid of that. Oh, she gasped in horror and rushed outside with a duster. She mopped up every drop of puddle. Then she rushed inside and washed the duster. Then she ironed the duster. Then she folded the duster. And then she placed the duster very neatly back in its drawer. Everything in Two Pin Cottage had its proper place. I think if you always go mopping up the puddles, you'd never out of work, are you? Now, this story is about when Little Miss Neat went on holiday. She always went away for 1 week every summer, and this year was no different. She's going away for 1 week, but she spent 2 whole weeks packing, because everything has to be just right, doesn't it? Then she spent a whole day polishing her suitcase. Oh, that's a bit odd, isn't it? And then off she set, leaving Two Pin Cottage all spick and span and neat and tidy. And there she is, and her suitcase, you can see, is gleaming. It's so clean and shiny. Oh, hope it doesn't get too dusty while I'm away, she thought as she closed the door behind her. But something worse than dusty was going to happen to Two Pin Cottage. Would you like to know what? Shall we find out what? Oh no. Oh, that's dreadful. Mr Muddle came to tea. He'd written to Miss Neat to tell her, but being Mr Muddle, he somehow got into a muddle posting the letter. Actually, what happened was that when Mr Muddle went to post the letter, he had the letter in one hand and a half-eaten sandwich in the other. And you know what's going to happen, don't you? If it's Mr Muddle, you know what's going to happen. He posted the sandwich. He posted a cheese sandwich. The postman won't know where it would go because it won't have an address on it, will it? Oh, it'd be nice seeing Miss Neat again, he chuckled to himself as he walked home. Ooh, this sandwich is a bit chewy. I think he's chewing on the envelope now. Anyway, the day after Little Miss Neat left to go on a holiday, Mr Muddle arrived. He walked up the garden path of Two Pin Cottage and knocked at the door. No reply. Goodbye, he shouted. It should have been hello, of course, but he isn't called Mr Muddle for nothing. Nobody home, he called. He pushed open the door. Oh dear, he thought as he looked around. Nobody home. He's lucky the door was unlocked, wasn't it? Because usually you'd leave your door locked. Never mind that, I'll make myself a cup of tea and I'll wait for Miss Neat. So he went into the kitchen of Two Pin Cottage, made himself a cup of tea, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited, and he went home. Little Miss Neat stepped out of the taxi outside Two Pin Cottage. "Oh, that was a lovely holiday," she said, paying the taxi driver. "But it's nice to be home." And she walked up the garden path and went in through the door. "Oh, not too dusty," she said to herself, looking round. "I think I'll make myself a nice cup of tea before I start unpacking." But making tea after Mr Muddle's visit isn't quite as easy as it sounds. Little Miss Neat eventually found the teapot. Not in its proper place, look. It's underneath the sink. And not many people keep their teapot underneath the sink. Oh, actually, no, it isn't. According to this, it's in the refrigerator, although that looks like she must have been looking for it under the sink, because it then says it was in the refrigerator. You certainly don't put your teapot in the fridge, do you? She eventually found the milk, not in its proper place, in the teapot, and the tea in the sugar bowl, and the sugar in the milk jug, the cup in the oven, and the saucer was in the bread bin. But could she find a teaspoon? She could not. The telephone rang. Little Miss Neat picked it up. "Hello," she said. And at the other end of the line, Mr Muddle suddenly realised he was holding the telephone the wrong way round. And there he is, look. One of these old-fashioned telephones. We don't use these so much anymore, which has a nice long wire, doesn't it? So it then goes in, plugs into the wall. Most of our phones these days are cordless. Or we're on our mobile phones. He turned up the right way and he said, "Goodbye," he said. "Who's that?" asked Miss Neat. "It's you," replied Mr Muddle, who was obviously in a muddle. Miss Neat thought. "It's Mr Muddle, isn't it?" she guessed. "Yes," replied Mr Muddle, getting it right just for once. "And you paid me a visit while I was away on holiday, didn't you?" she guessed again. "Yes," replied Mr Muddle, getting it right twice. "Can I come and see you now you're back?" "I suppose so," sighed Miss Neat. "Goodbye." "Hello," said Mr Muddle, and put the phone down. Little Miss Neat sighed a heavy sigh and sat down in the armchair next to the telephone. She doesn't like it when things aren't proper, does she? Ouch! And she looked underneath the cushion. What do you think she's going to find? There's one thing missing. Oh no, there's more than one thing. You know, she couldn't find the teaspoon. There were all her teaspoons. There were all her knives. And there were all her forks. Why did Mr Muddle put all the cutlery, all the knives and the forks and spoons underneath the chair? How very strange. Do you know, I don't think little Miss Neat will be going on holiday next year. Do you? Because I think she probably finds it very stressful. I'm sure she will. By then she'll have forgotten. And she obviously quite likes Mr Muddle, but otherwise she wouldn't have said, "Please do come round for tea." So that is the story of Little Miss Neat. So I suppose you can think, are you a Little Miss Neat? Or a Mr Neat? Of course, we can all be neat, can't we? You can see from my bookshelf behind me that I am not a Mr Neat. But am I Mr Muddle? Well, I don't know, probably not, because I can see the Mr Men books and the Little Miss books there, so we're all ready, aren't we, for reading stories. So you can have a little think about that and decide, is my bedroom a Miss or Mr Neat bedroom? Is it a Mr Muddle bedroom? It's okay, but I don't know where things are. Or is it a Mr. or Little Miss, perhaps it could be either, couldn't it? Mr Messy bedroom. You have a think about that, and I will see you soon, because the story I'm going to do next is Mr Messy. I hope you enjoyed that story. I hope you're enjoying all these stories and that you're having a happy time in your homes. I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye now.